Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our First NBC Bank Weekend Preview, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. It's a big high school football weekend, and there's no bigger game than the 95th renewal of the oldest rivalry and maybe the best rivalry in Louisiana, the Holy Cross Tigers, the Jesuit Blue Jays. You can watch it live on WHNO TV, Channel 20, beginning at 7 p.m., and also at SportsNola.com, Friday night at 7 p.m. And Lenny, anytime these teams get together, it's not just a football game.
It's an event. It really is. Last week we had the pleasure to be at Trahan Hanville, which is an event in St. Charles Parish. And when you look in the immediate New Orleans area, this is the closest thing that captures an event that you would see at the college or the professional level with all of the pageantry that goes on. It is a big deal. These schools spend literally the entire year planning out what is going to happen on Friday, and it will be another great atmosphere. The weather will ideally cooperate, and you'll have, perhaps the biggest crowd we'll see all year at a high school football game until we get to the Dome in December to witness this one. And two teams that are playing very well. They both lost their openers. They've both won 4 in a row. It's the start of Catholic League play, and this is as good as we can remember the Catholic League playing, certainly in the last decade, maybe even beyond. So it really makes for an intriguing matchup.
Safe to say that there could be 10,000 people at this game, and that's pretty safe assumption, frankly, when you look at the kind of support they have and the fact that it's a Friday night. And we look forward to that at SportsNola.com and through WHNO Channel 20. Of course, on Saturday, a whole bunch more games, a triple header on radio. Grace King, Thomas Jefferson at noon. Brother Martin, St. Augustine at 2:30. More on that in a moment. And Rummel and Shaw at 7 on WGSO 990 AM. You can access it through SportsNola.com as well. The middle game, Brother Martin, St. Augustine, will also be streamed live at SportsNola.com. And Lenny, this one is a Gentilly neighborhood battle, and it's one of those that will go a long way toward determining the Catholic League champion.
It really will. And I like what they've done when they got the Catholic League finally back together last year. Is they took the rivalry games and put them on week 1 of the schedule. And hopefully the next go-round of schedules, they will continue to do that. No certainty, but hopefully they will. But you like that being right out the box there to start things. And it's this Brother Martin St. Aug game should be terrific. St. Aug coming off a great win that we had on WHNO and Sports Nola over John Curtis Saturday night. Brother Martin undefeated, off to an outstanding start. And, you can watch it right here at SportsNola.com. 2:30 Saturday as part of SportsNola.com Prep Football presented by First NBC.
And 2 other big games to keep an eye on that are really fun to watch. A Battle of Unbeatens, Trahan at Thibodaux. That's a district rivalry. That's going to likely be for a district championship the way things shake out. Games at Thibodaux should be a good one Friday night. And then the Battle of Berman, the neighborhood war between Landry Walker and Edna Carr, which will clearly be the game that will decide a team that could eventually be in the Dome, Lenny. It's certainly been the case with Edna Carr the last 4 years, and last year they beat Landry Walker in the semifinals.
Exactly. That's a great one. That is a great league, really. I mean, you throw Warren Easton in the mix there, and that is as good a league at any level as we will get in Louisiana, and we're fortunate to have that being played right here in the New Orleans area. Another good one on Friday night as well. John Curtis will try to stop their 1-game losing streak as they head to Laplace to play St. Charles Catholic. That's the 2 best teams in that league getting together in a district opener. So a lot of great games. This is clearly the best card we've had thus far on the schedule.
Yeah, because district play is underway and you get some of those great matchups. College football Saturday, LSU goes to Florida. The Gators have had distractions this week with a quarterback that figured to start but got in some trouble. Driscoll back as the starter now. LSU in a lot of trouble after they played poorly and got hammered at Auburn last week. And this is really kind of a survival game for 2 programs, frankly, Lenny, that have struggled a bit, even though Florida won at Tennessee last week.
Right, and not very impressively, I might add. Florida's won 2 games in the SEC, and certainly still in the mix in the SEC East, but they could very easily be 0-3 if, some back judges might have called delay of game penalties instead of letting plays go off that ended up being deciding plays in games. And both of those wins over Kentucky and Tennessee, in fact. But that aside, look big picture here. LSU Florida has, not that long ago, that was the game that CBS targeted. That was their one primetime matchup that they wanted for a couple of years there. Now it's the 5th best out of 5 games on the SEC card this week. How quickly some have fallen in this case. So There's it's a great card in the SEC on Saturday. Auburn, Mississippi State, Ole Miss traveling to Texas A&M, and who would have thought we'd be talking about two Mississippi schools in the top 5 right now? But both of these teams really need this win, and I think LSU needs it more.
And then, of course, on Saturday evening at Yulman Stadium, Tulane with one of those opportunities you would think to get a win against a Connecticut team that's not very good. This is one of those that both of them are looking at it and saying, here's our opportunity to win a game. The question for Tulane will be, can they do so, and who's going to be engineering at a quarterback?
Right. Is it Tanner Lee? Is he get the green light to go? Is it Nick Montana? Is it Devin Powell? I think if it's not Lee, it's going to be Montana, just based on all the indications we've gotten. We'll probably find out more. Who knows? Maybe Curtis Johnson will choose to play like Les Miles is doing and keep his cards close to the vest until the very last minute and not let an opponent have an idea of which way he's planning on playing his cards. That said, Tulane's got to do some of the types of things that we saw them do last year. They've got to be solid on defense. They've got to force turnovers. Lorenzo Doss finally got his first interception of the year against Rutgers. Had a chance to visit with him on Tuesday at Tulane's press conference, and I think you could see a little bit of the weight come off his shoulders as a result of that. And, a lot of people, he's a preseason All-American. A lot of people not throwing his way, going the other direction, much like you see teams do at every level. But, getting a chance to get that first pick of the year, let's see how he plays Saturday night.
Saints, of course, enjoy the week off. They'll return against the Lions the following week, and the question will be who's healthy enough to play with significant injuries suffered in the last game. So we'll just have to wait since we don't know about injuries. But 2-3 at this point, and obviously an important game coming up indoors at Detroit a week from Sunday. Finally, the Pelicans lost their second straight preseason game, 94-89 to Washington at Jacksonville last night. And just a little brief cursory glance, Lenny, I wrote about it this morning. If you're looking for positives, Ryan Anderson and Drew Holiday look like they're healthy, and that's good. And so far, Jimmer Fredette's been the most impressive player in the 3 games they've played.
Very much so. And, obviously, Tyreek Evans, we're not going to see him this preseason. Hopefully he is ready for the opener, and you've got a fully healthy team going into the opener on the 28th against Orlando. But, as I think some people have brought up, when you've got the combination of players that you put out there, you can afford to play Evans at small forward when he's healthy, which you may not have been able to do in certain other, combinations out there. But you've got a really good set of players that you can put on the floor around him and be able to give a little bit where you might lose some things in height advantage and such, playing at the small forward position. So it's going to be interesting to see. Again, you start to tinker with rotations and such in the preseason, but obviously you're not going to be able to finalize those things without Evans on the floor.
Look forward to a great sports weekend as always, Lenny. Thanks, and have yourself a good weekend.
You too. We'll see you Monday.
That's our First NBC Bank weekend preview brought to you by First NBC Bank with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. For Lenny, I'm Kenny. Have a great weekend, and God bless you.